Mhm.
And Monica, I'm also interested to hear about how you think your 2-week bridge house will be different from, the lab setting and also from your day-to-day long-term community. I feel like here you have your we have our lab, you have your 2 weeks, I have my 3 months, and you have, your day-to-day every life. So I guess I'm wondering, are you feeling like those 2 weeks?
Yes, yes, this 2 weeks impulse was born because now in Lakesh we can go like we did before with this experience in the lab where we have this new agreements with the town, so we can go on and make AGP. And so we have this other place, and it's a beautiful place nearby San Cristobal, and really we want to be open to other people to co-create something with us. So we had this 2 weeks free, and we said, well, why not make a bridge house in 2 weeks? And it will be an experiment. And there are a few people interested, and they say, well, it fits 2 weeks. It's good. We don't have this context of lab without a possibilitator, and we make it in the context of torus technology. So like a first experience. And this space is very beautiful. And when we make this initiation there of Bridge House, maybe other groups can use this space also.
That touches something that I've been thinking a lot about in the process of writing the Codex. And one of the things that I feel like is our next work is really defining who this is for. And I'm interested to hear how you're deciding, this is a first experience, this is initiation into torus technology. And so I would like to explore a little bit more about who this is for. I think that's something on our project that we're needing to distill, and I would love to hear, about that with yours as well. So my proposal right now, we had originally been thinking in small groups, but since it's 4 of us that way, I was thinking we could do it in a group of 4. Do you think we have the time for that?
So for context for you, Leslie and Monica, I am asking Meredith to be the space holder for this meeting. And so for your context also, Meredith.
Yes, for my context. Great.
and for Leslie and Monica, the experiment is because I have such a strong, I have can be very strong and forceful. And for me, part of this whole Bridge House project is really building and exploring and navigating my relationship with Meredith, and how do we create intimacy and partnership. And so for today, we decided to just have the experiment that Meredith is the space holder. And so I'm going to speak not as much also.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And I do want to talk a little bit about our process of writing the Codex.
Thank you very much to make.
Thank you, Monica. So I feel like I want to rewind a few steps before we dive into that. So the process of writing this Codex is been a little bit one of copying the frameworks that we found with like the Bridge House website and the Game Worlds Builder website, and going through and using some of those frameworks and then trying to figure out what parts of that don't feel like they fit. And then reflecting on, well, why isn't this something that fits? Is this, something I need to lean into? And I'm hoping to explore this idea of who is it for today, to find more clarity on like what our space is before pushing out. Because like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to share this this with others, and I'm still feeling this need to define this a little bit more. And so that's the reason why I want to explore this. Like who is this for? Who are we going to be sending it to? And also how to how do we decide? And how do we decide
What?
how do we decide who this is for from a place of next culture, and not bringing with me all of these old stories of who is right in my community? And this is a big fear that I have, that I have so many stories, just from living in community about like who would be a good person to have. And I think there is some way to be really clear on who it's for. And I have a lot of fear about this process. So let's split off into.
I want to say one thing here.
Yeah.
My own experience has been, in every community I've lived in, there's always been at least one person I've had like a big amounts of box war with, even if it's not like out in the open, like because I'm polite, like it's usually under the surface. There's always been one person. So I think where I'm landing on this thing of who is it for, I want to have my own clarity around it. And then I want to somehow have this process be collaborative, where we have these kinds of codex writing meetings, and the people that are inspired by what we're talking about just naturally come. Anyway, that's what came up for me.
Yes, I think it's interesting to put light in this direction, to play different scenarios. So, and where we feel comfortable, or where Vox is stepping in and being aware of what will happen in a case X.
Yeah, I was really drawn to the part in the Codex about meeting ahead of time to look at shadow principles for the group, that, potential, I guess, shadow principles. Or I would also think starting to put the poop on the table with each other of what do we see each other bringing, what are their bright and shadow principles, or what we see in it ourselves coming in.
Yes, and this will be the first experience we will make. And I heard Christine Dürschner speaking, and she had this 3 months experience, and they made little spaces of 1 week, and 1 week with one special topics, and every different weeks different people came in and different people stepped out. It has logic for me also.
Yeah, but is there a structure that you wanted? It sounds like you wanted to start with the who question, who this is for.
Yes, I would like to start with who this is for. Are you ready to begin? It sounds like.
I just, I have so many thoughts. So bringing it back to what you said you wanted, I could be ready.
Okay, I'll pause you right there, because I would like to break out into twos and explore this question of who this is for. I think let's do this for 5 minutes 5 minutes each of roughly, but as a conversation going back and forth, not really strictly holding to those 5 minutes. So just about 10 minutes to explore more about who this is for, and then to come back all together would be my proposal. So, Bobby, could you make breakout rooms? And I'd like to be with Leslie and.
Okay. And so it's like for Monica, she's answering who her project is for.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, yes.
Who her project is for, or who this project is
I think either question will work, but in Monica's case, because it is coming so soon and there's such a defined, I think there's a lot that we can learn from, even here in that process as well.
for? Oh, great.
Who her project is for.
Okay.
Okay. And so we have 10 minutes total and we just switch at 5. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first?
So we focus on maybe, yes,
Okay. So I'll start a timer for 5 minutes now.
I think you wrote it very well. It's for people who make expand the box training, at least one lab, who wants to create another context where really bridging is happening, and we can take some insights and the experience we had in this bridge house together living to our real life. and in our case, it's open to everybody who feels this guidelines, and yes, be open to make AGPs, to make the different experiences and proposals, to go deeper, to explore the context of Taurus technology. So it's a 2 weeks experience, and so it will be focused on tools on Taurus technology mostly. And we have some question of people. We would like to have it in Spain, and another person was asking, can I bring my child? So we didn't have this in our mind to open up for child, but now we are looking if it could be possible to have a 6-year-old child in this context.
So do you want that?
Huh?
Do you want that?
We are talking about this because we know for the person who has this child would be a good experience, and also it's a question for us in our daily community life, how integrate children in everything, and how can we be responsible for a child altogether, make space for a child, and parallel also create community where we have other stuff going on. So how to bring these two worlds together? It's a really big question for us. And maybe in Bridge House, we can have more insights how it would be possible. But for our experience, would be open for everybody. If he or she is accordance with a codex.
And can I ask a slightly different question? What kind of energy are you inviting into the project? So I hear it's very open, but not to narrow it, but you know, if you can start attracting something in, what are you holding space for?
Yeah, we are holding space for people, for edge workers who want to deepen in their edge work, who wants to really be a change maker and hold space for other people afterwards and train ourselves there.
So someone who cares about their circle, wherever they're coming from.
Yes. Yeah, people who really want to expand not just their private boxes, also say community boxes and yes, and all the stuff which is holding us where we are.
Have you drawn the energetic diagram of for your codex yet?
Yes. Yes, we are for people who will hold the space, and then the participants, and maybe Patricio also like a mentor. I don't know how he will be in. And also the outer community of PM.
Okay. And what I'm seeing is also, you know, these circles that you want the people to go back and empower their little circles. And I hear it's maybe not circles, not even from PM. Is that
maybe can be. We're thinking in circles of PM and tree cells. We all the time are working in tree cells before even we knew PM. So we also have connection with other communities.
Okay. So I would just include these connections to other communities in your diagram also, because they seem part of it.
Yes, that's a good idea.
But that was 5 minutes, so I'll start.
Yes, thank you.
Who is this for? Yeah, some of it seems so obvious that I'm struggling. Edge workers, it's for, yeah, it's for people that really that want to create intimacy and high level fun. Yeah, this seems really important. It's for people who really want to empower other people's projects during the Bridge House. So yeah, that we really want this. Like Meredith has this idea to build a dome somehow, and it's like,
yeah.
I don't really have this idea for myself that this is how I would spend my time. And like I want people and myself to be there, because okay, if somebody has this passion for something, then I'm there too. And so it's like I've cleared out enough of my own life that for these 3 months, of course we all have our individual projects going on elsewhere, but that we really bring it into the center. And so this dome project, to build a dome, then I put my attention on it. And so I want that kind of person there as well. Yeah, I have this thing of, I think similar to you and your project. I really want people who are looking to take the next step to holding a game world or holding something else when this project ends. That it's not a contained 3-month project and then that's it. but you know, Meredith and I, we want to create a longer term community after this, and so I want to know like what's in people that they why are they coming here? What are they transforming so they can hold space for something else? Like why is the transformation needed for them? And I want men. I want this project to be for men. I noticed that actually everyone besides Patricio, who is not going to be living with us, but who's really a mentor, and maybe he'll come by, but actually all of the people who join our Telegram group and who write to me, I'm interested, are women. And I feel, yeah, I feel right now I feel angry about this and fear and sadness. And so I want this project to be for men too. And I don't know. Yeah, yeah, where are the men? I don't know. And I don't want it to be a place where people are running away from something. I have, as your sister was saying that, I had this like story energy come up of like, oh, maybe some of the women joining this project, it's like, where's their village? Where's their partnership? Where's their whatever? Like, why is it that so I want people to bring their circles in as well, and I don't know what that looks like, but I want somehow it comes up that I often see people in this game world where it's like usually people will come to and expand the box and then they'll say something like, my partner would never come to this. And I don't want that. So I want somehow that it's okay for somebody who's really skeptical or who's not in any sort of game world like this to come also. I don't know if that's true, but that came out. But
just hear it afterwards. Yes, it's a challenge to bring a context in a context.
I realized I didn't start the timer again, so I don't know if this is already 5 minutes.
I don't know. I didn't.
It seems
I didn't
about
control the.
right for me, or I already completed this first round, so I'm gonna go ahead and close the rooms in case it's already been a long time. Yeah, I guess that's my next question is, I know it's like I want the core group to be ETB and lab, like people have done this, gone through a certain level of initiation and who are living radical responsibility. And yeah, and I want to love all of the next level of the circle out. My friends who have partners that just would not come to something like this, and yeah, this is a big question for me. Meredith and I have one friend who has been to an ETB and maybe he's going to go to a lab, and I don't know that his partner will ever go to an ETB, and I want to find the way that this can be. Yeah, Monica, I'll just finish that. I want to find a way that this project can be for him also, and for her.
Yeah.
I would love to hear a little bit about what you discovered. 10 minutes was very short. And yeah, how was that? What did you discover?
That was really useful for me. I'm glad it's recorded so that I can go back and see some of the things I said. Some of what I remember is I said something like, I want to know what people need transformation for so that they like why are they wanting to transform to hold what for what afterwards? And so I want people that have that necessity to be empowering something else after this bridge house. And then this thing came up of I really want to find a way and have it be central that we're going to the next level of people outside the bridge house. So people who are not, even if we have this thing, you need an ETB in the lab to come, but like the people who are on the next level, like if someone's partner isn't into that, I want a part of our bridge house project to be about being in connection, in this kind of like full connection with our community. Like I'm thinking about Zach and if Zach wants to come, but Maria would not go to an ETB, like I want where this bridge house to be from is that we still have contact with, we have some amount of contact with Maria, and that this is the type of energetic position we take towards the world.
Yes, and I found your question very interesting. Where are the men? Where are the men in this? And this is also a question every time in community building. Where are the men? There's a huge wave of women coming in, and how can we create this attraction that men can come? When men come, this I don't know. I don't know. Our first years in community were 1 man and 10 women, 5 years. And now all of a sudden men are coming and families are coming. But it's koan. I don't know how to make it consciously that this phenomenon will shrink.
When that shifted, that the men came, are you aware of anything that happened energetically, or how what happened? How did it go?
The first child was born.
And then men came after that.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
don't know the answer to this question, but it's worth to investigate.
Yeah, thank you. Somehow something lands to hear that.
Yeah, there came also men, they came, but also they went. But now men come and stay and commit. Before it wasn't this commitment. It was like, I want to test this context, and when it doesn't work for me, I'm free. And this freedom, this understanding of freedom was the petrol to go to go.
Wow, that's interesting, because the community I live in now and Twin Oaks both have had to do a lot to keep it from being heavy on the male side. But when you say community, are you talking about a residential community, or are you talking about your PM community?
I'm talking about residential.
Yeah, we found that there was a lot of men, and then the women didn't come because it was too many men.
Yeah.
But I think I just saw the I guess in the global events telegram that there's all these men projects, events coming up, and some of them I think have really catchy titles that could be that kind of thing, like making some of the focus of what the Bridge House offers, special men's meetings and women's meetings, something to attract people who might go if it speaks to them more specifically than PM.
I'm going to get my notebook. I'll be right back.
So I wanted to provide a little, I shared this with Leslie, but a little bit of the context, Monica, is in our planning. I'm really looking at this as like going through this process with the vision towards a long-term community so that I can, it's practice for what's needed for a long-term community. And so as I'm thinking about this question of who is it for, in part, I feel like I'm focused on, our Bridge House. That's really the project. But I'm trying to keep in the back of my mind this longer term vision as well. And yeah, and I think I have, sometimes that's pulling me in different directions because it's a lot easier to focus on a 3-month thing. And I'm trying to keep that in mind. When I was thinking about this question, something that came up for me was the fire that I feel about taking on increased levels of responsibility in a lab setting is something that I want to cultivate and something I want to invite. People who are drawn, yes, maybe for other reasons, but people who are drawn, and something that we talked about was desire, not duty. And there's nothing that inspires me to take on more responsibility than other people stepping up and taking responsibility. Not that I can't do that without them, but I want to be living in a way where we are, holding space for one another out of this strong desire. And that's who this is for. It's the people who are lighted up. They're turned on by this idea of radical responsibility. And so there's this effect of okay, well, you're taking more responsibility, and yeah, I want to, me too. And this supporting level to bring all of the community up a few notches on, and as we learn more, continuing this process. And that's something I really want to cultivate in this Bridge House, is attracting that energy or, creating it together.
Yeah, I think changing space holders for the morning, it seems like a great beginning, a great, way of doing that, of making that a clear, yeah, we're all here to do all of it. It's not, we're not there's a leader and there's a follower. Or that we're all leaders and we're all followers. Yeah, I like that also.
And what is your image? That the people are coming to live there 3 months together?
Yes.
Or, yes, not splitting up, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we may, as a group, take breaks to go and do certain things, to go and be in nature. Dawi, you've mentioned a few times going to New York City. We have some visions for ways that we can experience things together. But yeah, our goal is really to be diving into this intensive community experiment and seeing what we can create. And so yeah, all together.
Wow. Yeah.
Now we are on mute.
This thing about New York City was to take a group trip there and to do edgework experiments or do non-material value delivering. I think that would be so much fun as a next culture house to go to New York for a weekend or something.
Uh-huh. Right.
Yeah. So as I was thinking about this idea of like, I really want it from desire, not duty. That's going to be my motto for myself as well. This question came up of, what if somebody doesn't know? Like, sure, they're coming in with all this excitement, but their motivation, they haven't fully uncovered their own personal motivation. And I think this is me too, and like really discovering, like exploring our shadow principles and exploring this together is going to come up. But how do we set the baseline for finding people who are ready to engage in this intensive 3-month process? And this is something in the Codex that, I think we have one line on rules of engagement. And yeah, I have a lot of fear around this aspect of how I'm going to determine these rules for engagement, where this is coming from for myself. Am I really, like, is this a real fear, or is this just my box? Or yeah, I would like to be able to have a space to evaluate who is going to be joining. Yeah, from a real place, as opposed to just like these quick judgments. And so I would like to hear from what you think about this, of like deciding who should be coming. How do we evaluate this process? And maybe it's really just whoever's excited to come, like, join us. But yeah, I would like to hear a little bit from you as well, Monica. Like, how do you decide?
In the beginning, we just open up the door and let people come in. So, and this is a good experience. And our goal, what we are harvesting now, is that we didn't have a codex. So it opened up the door for everything, for misunderstandings, for we have all the same level of rights and experiences. So now I want to say, and it was very, very painful in some points. So I think once a good responsible codex is there, not a 200 pages codex, but something easy to understand and to have clear these guidelines. So you have this open frame where people can move in. It's not too rigid, but you have these outer lines. And this I think is very helpful. When we are not so rigid anymore, life is happier. But if you have all these rigid points, then in some point you need a police figure there, and it's not what really invites to grow in radical responsibility. Yes, but I think it's a very good start with making this codex and take a stand for what is good for you, what is not good for you, and where do you want to live with people who are taking drugs, who are, I don't know, to make this clear in your codex, because once these people are in, and this will be an experience. This will a experience, and once people are in, it's not so easy to say, this is the project, how it's easy to come in, and also define the steps, what can happen that the people have to go step out, and how is the going out process. It's very important. The good thing is it's just 3 months. But this is a time where you can really distill what will your codex be for the living community. This is a codex which will be proved there. And then you have your lessons from there too. But take a stand for what is really important for you. I read it's important for you, local food, no refined food. Don't negotiate this. Don't negotiate this, because all of a sudden something which is really important for you, who have to hold the space, you can negotiate innegotiable things for you. This is my opinion, or my box, whatever you know, or my experience. But in some points you have to take a stand, and sometimes we are not clear enough, and we have fear to take a stand for our points, because we feel that can be exclusive. We have to get people, they don't have this chance to come in. And one fantasy about community making is we have to include everybody.
Thank you. I think I have been, going back and forth is like, what are the things I take a stand for, and what's something that we collaborate on as a community? And I think I've been spending a lot of time navigating like, oh, well, I have a lot of shoulds in this area. Oh, this should be something that we decide as a community. And I really resonates with me about, not having this fantasy about what community is and taking a stand, because I do have these times where I jump into this fantasy world of, oh, I'll figure it out. We'll work on it together. We'll discover it. And there are certain things that I need as a baseline, and bringing all those together for everyone, I think, needs to start that with this codex, and what things are flexible and what things are rigid is a great question.
Yes.
So what are what are some of the
And
things?
one thing also, the way he said, I hear, yeah,
Go ahead, Monica.
I wonder, Monica, if it would help if you turned off.
Yes, I heard also say, bah,
You have a delay. So if you turn off your video, it might work more smoothly. Oh, but now you're muted.
yes, it's better now.
I think so. Keep going.
Yeah. So I heard about that way. He was saying it's very important for him not to open up the door for people who just want to run away from something. So to take this in the codex and protect this stand also, it's very important. Define this.
Yeah, somehow what I'm getting from Monica really lands to start taking the Codex in a direction of saying these scary things. And for me, the fear that comes up is I make it way too restrictive. Nobody joins. And I don't know, I kind of want to experiment with taking it that direction and then see what happens. Maybe it becomes super clear. And so I was going to ask you, Meredith, I've heard this one thing of, yeah, buying local food. And in the past, my thought process has been like, how important is this? Like, what if people don't agree? Like, is that really so important? But now, yeah, I want to hear like, okay, that, and then what else? What else do you take a stand for that might seem quite rigid?
The first thing that pops into my mind is the clean, energetic space. Like being in my home, I want the energy to be able to flow in a certain way. Being at lab and knowing where my cup is going to go and knowing who's filling up the water cup, it allows for the focus to be on different things. And I don't want this energy drain in my environment. And so I really care about when we're making decisions about our living space, the energetics of it. Like, I don't want to walk through like, if we're in a shared space, I don't want to have to do X, Y, and Z before I can create. And having the space in service of creation is something that's really important.
What else?
Something about energetic hygiene, like doing an EHP and like, I've done my task, but also this like exercise or like into nature, like this connection that we're fueling in each other of, and I say this as a rule for myself as well, because I think having these, this is a training space. I mean, it's a living space, but this is a training space for living next culture long term.
All of a sudden, I have an insight of creating clear spaces of stands, and I think men like this. It can be attraction for men to have a clear definition space and not the fear. It can happen, the fear that nobody will comes, but in Lakesh, when we defined it more and took more stands, then people came more time, experienced more, and really seemed that they were in a different context of transforming. So it doesn't have just one side. This religious thing has also the clear principle there. So which can attract clarity.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to hear one more thing from you, Meredith, and like really specific. Like this local food thing is very specific, and it creates something energetic for me about the project.
Something that came up is this focus on joy and this exploration of joy. I have opinions about, a focus on specific joy practices that we do in community, and exploring and doing a lot of experiments around that.
So if you were to write this in the Codex, it would be something like,
I feel there's something.
if you were to write this in the Codex, it would be something like, this is a joy research team.
Yes.
And I'm sort of guessing, like, you mean the joy of being in community, or you mean individual joy?
Both an orientation, like an openness towards joy, like going on gratitude morning walks where we go and express gratitude for all of the things that are in nature that we experience, expressing gratitudes at the dinner table, coming together to like, what other practices are there? I know that one practice and I want to explore those. Not that I'm masking my life with this joy, but if I orient towards witnessing more joy, I think it will become more available and sharing that with others. And I think that like the aspect of joy and love and using love to share this joy. So yeah, as community and individual. So I think the more specific thing would be gratitude practices.
Okay, great.
Monica, it sounded like you were, oh, there you are, you're unmuted. It sounded like you were going to share.
Yes, I just saw your face is transforming, and I was looking, or my I saw like something is happening inside of you with touching this food issue, and I saw like could be fear or something. I don't know. Can you speak more about this?
About food in particular?
Joy.
No.
Yes, it seemed that yes, this food thing is touching something in you.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Meredith or Leslie? Me, right? Yeah, I think my whole project, I'm really sad that we're beginning in September because I want to be there in the beginning of June and I want this whole process of building this garden and starting from there. I want to go from June to December. And I think that like I have such a connection to the earth, to Gaia through food, through cultivation, through planning, this whole process of something that lights me up. And it feels really important that we are being nourished by that same energy. And to me, that's where the local food comes in. And in connection with the community. I don't want to be someone floating in space, not knowing where my nourishment is coming from. And so this local food is really specific to me, to my desire to have this long-term community, because I see this aspect of growing food as something that really calls me, as well as just reality. Like this is the reality of our world. If I'm allowed to have that exchange with local food and, you know, going to the farm stands and something about that energy feels really important.
Yes. Yes, I saw you speaking now. Your energy changes and it was full of life. Now you it's
What
very
is
important for you, this.
what is the thing we can do on the property at this space going into winter? Like, do we need to insulate the barn, or I'm sort of imagining this long project that's the foundation for one of these things, for this whole nature gratitude thing of like, yeah, that over these 3 months we're going to insulate a barn.
In service of like to be able in long term to grow food. I'm not sure I'm understanding. I want to build a greenhouse.
Okay, you want to build a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like appearing to me that if we commit to a project like this, then that, and we put this in the Codex, that this is really that the project holds the whole energetic space for that value you have.
Yes.
So like we're building a greenhouse.
Yes.
I think it's very important to have a practical project, a hands-on project where people come together, whatever it will be, greenhouse or whatever, but you have to make something together physically, where you see your outcome day by day, not just making food, eating it and cleaning up, just to have a result there you can make a celebration upon. I think it's very, very important. It's very difficult if you are just in the world of writing, speaking, processing, and not have a practical anchor to Gaia. So I really see this is a good impulse. This is a yes, will help.
A practical anchor to Gaia. That really lands.
Uh-huh.
What other anchors are necessary for community? For a bridge house? Codex, I think, is an anchor. It's a map more so. I mean, it is a map.
I think also an anchor can be to be connected with other long-term communities, because this is your an aim of this bridge house, to convert in a long-term community, to go and visit Twin Oaks or wherever, whatever you have near. There's also Patricio's community there in New York, and I don't know what more are there. Yes, could be an anchor. And also in this next generation network of gene, to look out what is happening there in other contexts, which is not PM.
I want
To
to say
feel part of something bigger. Huh?
3 months is too short, is what I'm feeling.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is feeling like there's maybe 3 types of projects. There's this greenhouse project, which I feel a lot of fear and joy about. And then there's some kind of project related to non-material value that feels important to me. And this is like going into the local towns or holding some sort of training. And then there's this connecting to other communities and building, yeah, responsible communities with other communities. And I don't know what the project is there yet, but that I got really lit up hearing this, of like going to other communities and sharing and learning. So if I'm thinking about like this space of what we have, it's like there's the nature hands-on project, and then there's a maybe space for delivering non-material value, and then there's something about, yeah, community weaving. Is there more space that jumps out to anybody? Like I would be happy with these three things as kind of the what are they called? The legs on the chair. These are the three legs on the stool, but I just want to leave it open. Are there more? Is there more space?
Yes, I feel that you are talking about the archetypal lineage, and see, this is a very good insight to know what lineage are representing you and Meredith, and maybe one person more, and hold the space for this energy. Everybody, you for your village weaving, Meredith for practical things, and this um, relationship with Gaia. So just start where you are, not going too far. I think maybe my idea of going to visit eco villages or communities is going too far. You're right, 3 months is very short.
I don't think it's too far, but or I want to hold the possibility that something like this can happen.
And Monica, I think, just gave us a new one, this relationship to Gaia. And sure, this physical energy that we'll be, collaborating on is one, but there's another layer of that, of this relationship to Gaia. And I think that's a fourth leg. And then another,
I think it's the guardian of Gaia. You're standing full there for me. You are this archetype.
and Dawi, these things are like the periphery to me. Like, these are the things outside of, I mean, some are in, but this isn't even the dynamic of the day-to-day of the space holding. So
The way I'm seeing it is this is the foundation now, and the day-to-day grows out of this. So if we're doing this greenhouse project, that actually forms a lot of our day-to-day, and this guardianship of Gaia also creates our day-to-day, and figuring out how to deliver non-material value to what's around us. It's just the way I'm looking at it. It doesn't have to be the way everyone looks at it, but yeah, I'm creating an energetic diagram for myself of, okay, I'm committed to these projects, and this is, and what is the bridge house? I don't really know. The bridge house is something that grows out of these projects, but this is the part that I can see. We're building a greenhouse.
Yes, I feel your fear that these practical things, or this a guardian archetype type, will take too much space, and to deliver non-material values is resting this energy. in our experience in Lakesh, we make this 2 or 3 hours practical work in the morning, and then we have all the space free to make all the other stuff, all the other very important things. Don't fear that practical things get too much energy. It's just in the other way in my experience. But give it a space, give it a clear space. If not, it's everything is more important than making a greenhouse with a practical results for Mother Earth to grow your own food. And be responsible, full responsible for your whole chain of food.
I'm feeling so full and so much joy with this clarity. Like it's like so alive for me to have these anchors a little bit more clear. And it's like, yes, this matters to me. And I'm just feeling really grateful to be in this space to feel that. Yeah, thank you everyone for letting this come. So practically right now it's 11:12 where we are. And I would like to spend, the next minutes or so talking about next steps and how to continue moving this energy along. And Monica, I would love to hear your next steps on your project as well. And so I would like to spend 10 minutes hearing whatever these next steps are, and really ending today with that. Dawe, it seemed as though there's something that was there for you.
No, I also feel really full and really glad about, things seem clearer, and I have a lot of energy coming through.
I'm really taking this invitation for my next step of like going maybe even a little bit too far in my clarity of what I want, and getting really specific and trying that on and seeing what's discovered. So I want to go through the Codex again, get really specific on what I want, using this new energetic framework and running with it for a little while.
Sounds good. And you'll post it?
Yes.
Yes, I feel very happy about making codexes together for different realities, and see how we can mutually put questions into the space, which gives us the opportunity to readjust our thinking, our box, principally to expand our box and open up to different possibilities. Yes. Thank you very much for holding this space and making all this, from the very beginning public. I think it will be a good a good orientation for other bridge houses which will emerge.
Monica, I was just, I have a project along this where I'm keeping a journal of the process that I'm going through, and with the hope of creating of being able to share, this is what we've done to create this community, and maybe long term, eventually when there's a long-term community, like this is where we started and this is where we've gotten, if this is helpful in your project. And I was just thinking, you've been doing this, and I'm one as an invitation, if you would be open to keeping a journal or collaborating on a journal, like what are you doing to make this happen? What are you doing to start this new space that might be open to more bridge houses coming, and keeping kind of a journal of it to pave the way for other bridge houses and other communities to flourish from the wisdom that you've already discovered. And so, yeah, that's an invitation to you.
Yeah, thank you for this invitation. I am just struggling about this all writing, what is coming to me. So much information, you have to write. And sometimes I'm just asking myself, do I want to live or do I want to write? So, and I know about the importance, and I have to find the balance in this, and I'm open, and yes, I want to support you, and I have to find my space in this. This is not taking too much from me, and by the way, I want to learn to be more precise, more clear, more everything that brings over a clear message, and let the bright principle of clearness come in, clarity. So this is my personal step. So if you have a concrete proposal how this can work, please let me know and we can talk about it.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
I think my next step is to talk to men in my life about this project. Yeah, I'm going to write a message of what I'm doing and why I want other men.
Yeah.
My next step is coming, being in touch through the Telegram, and maybe I'm trying to be part of the calls that you have. I realized I was listening, and then I was also dozing, which I feel sad and angry about, but I don't know if that's because I don't see myself in the bigger project. I see myself participating in smaller ways, and think it's exciting. And I'm also I think there's some way I'm kind of like, okay, this is more than I'm signing up for. I'm doing my fade back. thing, and I apologize for that. I'm glad you all kept going, but I was aware of my fading out.
Mhm.
Why did you join this call?
Because I am interested in what you're doing as a bridge house, and because I thought I imagined that I would be involved in the bridge house, not for the complete 3 months.
Wow.
Because I knew that the house in Poland, in Czechia, was more, people coming and going. And because I'm thinking to start a bridge house here in Staten Island, if that turns out to be possible. So I thought it would be good to hear what you all were talking about. Participate if I could.
What do you want to create with your bridge house?
Processes, doing processes together in relation to living together, working with radical responsibility in relation to living together, and hopefully kind of enticing for my community to get interested in it, to create a buzz. Not just my community, but my the neighbors, people around this area.
Leslie, I'd like to hear your next step on that in relation to that project.
I'm going to be talking with Patricio this weekend. Clarify what he's up for, what I'm up for. I think the idea that I have is much shorter. It's like maybe even 4 to 6 weeks is way too much. It's hard for me to think in terms of long commitments, because I have a whole life here and I haven't yet decided, I want to separate from this life to go do something else. I want to incorporate the something else into this life at this point. That's what's exciting to me about the bridge house here.
Thank you. I feel really glad to hear more about your project, and we'll be so close in the world of possibility management and physically, and that feels exciting. So I look forward to hearing, I would look forward to hearing what you decide and what happens. So please share what's happening for you in this project.
Thank you. I will be in touch.
I'm really, really grateful that you all came. I feel so much energy to continue. I was really, I was on the down swing of clarity on what's going on. And I feel really, like I said, really full and really motivated. And I have a lot more clarity about what needs to be done. We'll have another collaboration call, I think, on 4/29, so which is Saturday, 2 weeks from now, is my proposal. Same time.
Thank you very much for holding this space for the next culture. It's very important. for
Thank
me and for life on Earth. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you, Monica. Thank you,
Yeah.
Leslie.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.
Ciao.